Good evening. It's Andrew Messia, and I'm going to be recording live Module 4, Part 1 of SEO Hacks by Andrew, and it's all about content marketing, creating a content outline, focusing on content today, because that's what has made me a bunch of money doing search engine optimization, was creating content and then marketing that content through different strategies. So this module involves creating content. It's really hands-on. So I'm just going to share this on Twitter as well. Let me go to Twitter here. Oh, I should probably grab the YouTube one. The live video. Let's see. Where is it? Yeah, so I hope everyone's having a great day. It's a pretty darn good day for me. Every day is pretty good. I mean, it's really hard to have a terrible day in Medellin for me. Let's share this. Yep, the sound's okay. Oh, I should probably mute my desktop just in case. There we go. Yeah, so I'm going to be sharing this on Twitter as well. Okay, so that's tweeted. And let's get to it. So again, I'm creating an SEO course that I'm going to be giving away for free to those that are part of my newsletter. The newsletter link sign-up form, or the sign-up form link, is in the description of this video. If you're watching it on YouTube or Facebook, it's in the description. You'll want to sign up because you'll get it for free. Eventually, I'll be selling it for $500, $1,000, whatever the market decides that it's worth. I'm just going to put it at the highest and then work down, or keep going up depending on what people pay for it. So it will be a paid course, but it'll be free for anybody that's signed up to the newsletter. It's a search engine optimization course that goes through various aspects of search engine optimization, from technical SEO to creating content to off-page SEO like backlink building and content marketing. So today I'm going to be recording Module 4 of this course. I'm going to take this off because I don't need it while I record this. I think I recorded one video with it on. I totally forgot to take it off, but it's all good. The important part is the actual information that I share with people. So this is Module 4, Part 1, which involves content creation and outlining. I'm going to be going over my secret sauce to creating content that not only sticks with Google and helps rank, for keywords, and helps acquire organic traffic, which in turn helps our client convert those into sales. And without this part of search engine optimization, we would not be a 7-figure digital marketing agency in the drug and alcohol rehab sector. And I mentioned drug and alcohol because that is the industry that we work in. That's the industry we've been working in for the past 8 years. And search engine optimization is pretty much the same across the board. But when you specialize in something and you niche down, it really does set you apart. I mean, I've had attorneys, I've had dentists, I've had doctors as clients, etc., because they notice that, hey, you guys niched in drug and alcohol rehab. That means you must know a lot about search engine optimization. Even though I'm a lawyer in a different area, you guys have created and are working in a billion-dollar industry that's super competitive, and you've been able to help your clients grow and reach the top of, Google search results for various keywords, you guys could do the same for me. And it's true, because we've in the past, we've had clients from all sorts of industries, but I always mention alcohol and drug rehab because that's 90% of our business. So I'm going to be recording module 4 part 1 video now. I'm going to start recording here now. Welcome to Life Hacks. Well, it's not Life Hacks. I'll start it again. Welcome to SEO Hacks with Andrew. I'm Andrew Messia. This is part 1 of module 4. We're going deeper into content marketing and talking about content outlines. Before we get started, let's go over some of the things we've learned already. In module 1, we talked about an intro to search engine optimization in part 1. In part 2, we went over keyword research, and in part 3 of module 1, we went over advanced keyword research. In module 2, part 1, we went over on-page SEO. In part 2, we went over on-page SEO and technical SEO. And then in part 3, we did an SEO audit. In module 3, the one previous to this one here, part 1, we had an intro to content marketing. And in module 3, part 2, we went deeper, and I called that one advanced content marketing. This module, module 4, is all about creating content. So it's very hands-on. So let's get to it. Content marketing. According to HubSpot, content marketers who prioritize blogging efforts are 13 times more likely to see positive ROI than those that don't. And according to Kpost, businesses that engage in content marketing capture 7.8 times more organic traffic than those that don't. Furthermore, Demand Metric states that content marketing generates 3 times the leads, but costs 62% less than other digital marketing channels. So as you can see, I love content marketing because it offers a higher return on investment. It offers organic traffic, and it also, for our clients, it costs less for them to acquire a client through organic content than any other channel. And this has proven to be kind of our bread and butter, or our calling card, saying, hey, we can help you reduce your ad spend through search engine optimization. Great content is a great sales tool, especially if you're a smaller business and don't have a big budget to compete with those big guys. Here are some companies that make a lot of money through content marketing for your information. Let's look at NerdWallet. NerdWallet.com. After being laid off, Tim Chen, 35-year-old founder of NerdWallet, had $800. Now NerdWallet.com is worth over $500 million. TechCrunch.com makes $22.5 million a year, and they offer a lot of content, a lot of information. That's what TechCrunch is. So in the last module, we introduced content marketing. In part 1, we went over the introduction, and we went over 20 content marketing rules in part 2. We had some homework to do. You were to have gone through any existing content you have and optimize it according to the rules that we went over, the 20 rules. You should have also started labeling your content as awareness, consideration, or decision-making stage of your buyer's journey. And I will always go back to your buyer persona, your buyer's journey, because this is something that is very, very important if you're trying to do any type of marketing. Whether it's online, offline, knowing your buyer or buyers and their journey is very important, especially when we're talking about content marketing. And I'm going to go over that here in a minute. If you haven't gone through module 3, please go through it before continuing with this module. So the first thing that you want to be aware of are content types. When talking about content, you have to understand that there are many content types. Some content is suitable for sales, other content is good for traffic, while others can be good for backlink building strategies. So let's go over what type of content you should be considering as you're creating your website. Number one is lists. This content type is all over the place. If you've searched the internet for anything, you'll run across lists or list style posts or list style articles. Lists are an easy way to create content. So they're easy for you to make, and they're suitable for the reader because they're scannable. As a user yourself and myself, when I look something up that I want more detail about, I'm not going to read every single word on that document or on that blog post or in that article. Usually, I'm just skimming through it and looking at headlines, stopping at the important parts of the information and reading that and then continuing on. So lists are great for that reason because it gives something for the reader to scan. List type content can either be very short or very long. For example, 7 ways to lose weight. You can easily find an article that could resemble that. 7 ways to lose weight, or 7 easy ways to lose weight. But then you can also come across another content piece that is titled 101 Ways to Lose Weight. Typically, if the list is long, the content for each number is short. For example, that 101 Ways to Lose Weight, each point or each number is probably going to be a paragraph or maybe even 2 sentences. On the contrary, that 7 ways to lose weight, I'm sure that content would be a little longer. Each point would be longer instead of shorter, right? So usually the longer the list, the shorter the body or the body content is. And the shorter the list, the longer the body content is. Here's an example of a list post we created for a client. Let me share my screen so you could see. Let me open up the browser. There it is. Okay, so North Point Recovery is a drug and alcohol rehab center out in Boise, Idaho, and we have a ton of content about addiction, about recovery, about pain points in addiction, but we didn't have any content in regards to a keyword that we knew could garner a lot of traffic. It may not garner a lot of conversions at first, this keyword, intrusive thoughts. But we understood through keyword research that this keyword, intrusive thoughts, could mean thousands of visits to the blog, in turn increasing the domain rating, the domain authority of the website, helping not only this blog post itself to rank for keywords, but as you create content that ranks, Google will start ranking your other content as well. So tackling an easy keyword for us, like intrusive thoughts, was a big win for us because we were able to get them a lot of traffic. It might not have been targeted traffic at the beginning, but we know where this content lives in our buyer's journey. This is definitely an awareness article. It's not a decision-making article. It's not even a consideration article. Remember, the buyer's journey can be broken down into those 3 segments or those 3 stages, which are awareness, consideration, and decision-making. So here, this is where the buyer or the potential buyer is aware of a problem, and they're looking for more information on the problem and perhaps solutions to that problem. And those solutions may not involve buying from our client, but at least the user would know or will know once they fall or they stop on this blog post and read it, that our client is an authority in this field. So we created the 7 tips. As you can see, this content piece is only 7 points, but it is very long. It's over 2,000 words. It's not very long. I would say it's less than 3,000 words, but over 2,000 words. So it's longer, but it's 7 points, and it has infographics in it. It has a video in it. It has, let's see, what else does it have that makes it stand out? Frequently asked questions, where we answer a bunch of questions, and then the full infographic at the bottom, and then the calls to action at the bottom. So this content piece, guess how much traffic this one blog post gets our client? Over 10,000 page views per month. Even if we just get 1% to convert or close to a conversion, that is a huge win for us. And that's pretty much the conversion rate for this type of article, an awareness article. A conversion for us here would obviously be where they either clicked on a button to buy or contact form fill out or left their phone number or email address for someone to contact them. That's what we considered a conversion on the entire site, but there are many goal completions. For example, a goal completion is clicking onto the next article that may lead them to the next phase or the next stage in the buyer's journey. For example, in this article, it's the 7 intrusive thoughts. In the article, we mentioned people with intrusive thoughts may suffer from substance use disorder or may be using substances to medicate or self-medicate. Take a look at our article of people that have overcome addictions, or there are 3 stories of people that overcame addiction, and that's leading them into a bigger awareness piece, but it's more directed towards consideration of solving your problem, hopefully through our client. So that's how that worked there. Here's another example of a blog post that we created. This one blog post, I'll show you here. It's a more fun article to write as a writer, the 10 celebrities who overcame heroin addiction. This one's closer. This is definitely still an awareness, entertainment blog post. A lot of the people that may search this may not even have a drug problem or any problem at all in regards to mental health or addiction. And the conversion rate on this is super low as well. But again, this is an article that was created for the purpose of getting a bunch of traffic to the site and increasing our domain rating, our domain authority, and helping other pages along in increasing their rankings. So this article alone gets over 5,000 visits per month, over 5,000 page views per month. So list posts can be integrated into other types of content. The list doesn't have to be a numbered list either. It could be a bullet point list. It could be FAQs that you're listing, etc. The next content type is infographics. Infographics are another content type that works well for backlink building strategies. When creating an infographic, make sure that the content is very well researched. Look at what the competition has done. If there's an infographic on a topic you want to cover already, you'll want to outdo that infographic. You don't want to just copy it and mimic it. You want to outdo it, add more information, make it easier to read, make it the steps more actionable, whatever the case may be. You want to outdo the competition. The next content type is social media posts. Creating content on social media is key to a well-rounded content marketing plan. Depending on your social media platform, the content will vary. For example, Twitter allows for up to 280 characters to be written in a tweet. Facebook allows for 62,000 characters, and Instagram allows for 2,200 characters to be written. All 3 of them you can embed or link to a video. So depending on the social media platform, you're going to be limited or have more capability to write more or inform the reader more, right? The next content type is video. Video is a booming content type right now. Coupling written content with video is a great strategy. We love to do that. YouTube is the world's biggest video hosting platform. You can upload videos to your YouTube channel and embed them on your website's blog post or social media posts. It's pleasing for a page visitor, and it helps with SEO. It helps with SEO because two reasons. One, you're not hosting the video on your server, which may slow down the loading time of your page, of your blog post that you're putting this video in. Second, if a user lands on your page and they're reading the content, or maybe read the introduction, and then you have a video right away, and the video is a minute long, that's one more minute that they're going to spend on your site. And this is a ranking factor for Google's algorithm, is how much time people spend on your page, whether they get there and just click off right away because they didn't find what they were looking for, or they were misled, or they got to your page, liked the content, read through the content, spent many minutes, several minutes on your page. This could be a huge ranking factor. So videos are good. Another content type are podcasts. Podcasts are a great content marketing tool because you can dive deeper into your buyers' personas, pain points, and solutions. We helped a client create a podcast, North Point Recovery Podcast, and it has gained a following. The episodes live on their website and other platforms, and we are able to repurpose that content. The great thing about a podcast or even video is that when you create a podcast, the content doesn't just stop there. You can give that podcast to a writer, or you could do it yourself, and have them write an article on minute 12 of the podcast where you talked about such and such thing, or such and such thing gave a testimonial, or this person talked about this solution. Let's write a blog post, 1,500 words, 2,000 words about this. We'll embed the podcast part that we're talking about in the blog post to give the reader more context, more edification, etc. So podcasts are great for literally expanding on your content. Another great content type are webinars. Webinars were way more popular a few years ago. However, they're still a powerful content marketing tool. Webinars are an excellent tool for all business types. The ones that take advantage the most, I've noticed, are business-to-business companies. If you create an event, a webinar event, and you invite many people, you have a captive audience. As an attendee, I've attended many webinars. Attending a webinar is a more significant commitment than just watching a video on YouTube or on someone's blog post. So the conversion rate on a webinar is usually higher than just text or video. The next content type are tools. Tools are one of the best forms of content marketing. According to Neil Patel, tools are his go-to content marketing type because they have the highest return on investment. Creating a tool usually takes longer than any other content type, even creating a video. If you're creating a tool that's complex, it could take a lot longer. Tools don't have to be boring, though. They can be interactive. A tool can be a simple calculator. The idea is to give value to your readers. For example, we created a tool on one of our clients' websites. Let me show you. This tool was not super complex to create, but it wasn't like an overnight thing that we created. It did take time. Let me show you. I'll open it here. So this is what I mean by a tool can be very simple but very valuable. So this tool right here on their homepage on the hero or the above the fold is insurance coverage form fill out. And this tool helps the reader. If I'm looking for drug rehab information, or I'm looking for a drug rehab solution or alcohol rehabilitation center, and I see this treatment for drug and alcohol dependency, and then I see if your provider will cover your treatment cost. Select my provider. Let's say it's that one, and then the substance that I use, let's say it's alcohol. I want to check now. Right away, yes, BCBS Ameriben typically covers alcohol addiction treatment. Verify my insurance or call someone right now. So this right away is taking me into my buyer's journey, or the last stage of the buyer's journey, which is the decision making, right? It could be consideration too, because they just may want to know how much it's going to cost, how much of the cost will the insurance provider cover, et cetera, et cetera. If it's my son or my daughter that's going to be treated, are they covered, et cetera. So there's a ton of questions that may come after this, but this tool alone has proven to be one of the best return on investments for our client, because it took us a while to create, yet they get so many inquiries from the use of this tool. Of course, there are bigger and better tools. For example, Neil Patel created a tool, well, an entire website based around a tool called Ubersuggest. It's an SEO tool that gets millions of visitors each year, millions upon millions of visitors each year, and the man has made a killing using Ubersuggest. And obviously, not everybody has the budget to create it, but as you grow, these are the type of ideas that you want to grow into. You don't want to just get stuck on creating content, maybe some infographics, and that's it, and maybe some videos. But what else can you create that will help your buyer persona not only help them to make a decision to buy from you, but that will help others in the sense that they're going to be sharing it across the internet. They're going to be talking about it, reviewing it, maybe sharing it on forums, on social media platforms, linking to it when someone else writes a blog post about that topic and found your tool. Creating a tool has many, many aspects in regards to search engine optimization, many benefits, I should say. If you don't have the budget to create your tool, you can embed a tool or add a widget to your website and create content. Just Google the problem and then write in widget or tool in Google. There's a good chance that someone has created a tool that they have shared on the internet. And I've seen this happen many times, where I'll look for something and I'll write tool or widget, and I land on someone's page that is basically giving away the tool for free. And it's something that I can use on my website that's going to help my user. For example, how many drinks or how many hours will it take for me to be sober tool. I don't want my programmers to be bogged down with creating a tool like this that could take very long. There are many tools on the internet that already exist that I could just embed in our client's website. The next content type are checklists. Checklists on a page or blog post are great because they engage the reader. And as a reader, being able to accomplish something and check it off is satisfying. If you have a blog post with steps to doing something, you can create a checklist for the reader. Checklists can be on the page, or they can be a downloadable PDF. You can make the reader give you their email address in order to download that checklist. The next content type to consider is a mixture of everything. Mix it up. It's a good idea to mix up all of the content types we've gone through. The more information you give the reader, the better. If you have a successful page, ask yourself, what else can I add to this page that will help the reader? A video, a tool, a quiz, a slideshow, PowerPoint presentation, etc. Now let's talk about the 10-step secret sauce recipe. The 10-step secret sauce recipe. There's no guarantee for success in content marketing or in any digital marketing, even in digital marketing or marketing as a whole. If someone is guaranteeing you success or guaranteeing you that they're going to bring a certain amount of organic traffic to your page, they're going to rank you for a certain keyword in a certain amount of time. If they're giving you a guarantee, you should double think that decision to work with that person, because I've been in digital marketing for 15 years now, and I will never guarantee anything to a client or results to a client. I will guarantee the delivery of our services, and I will also give case studies and examples of where this worked and where we got them or where we got a previous client, but I'm not going to say, hey, I guarantee that we're going to rank for this keyword and you're going to get a ton of sales. It's not prudent. It's not good business because tomorrow Google can disappear. Then what are you going to tell your client? Where's your guarantee then? We don't know what Google's going to do tomorrow. And they are known to update their algorithm very frequently and sometimes in a very big way that affects everyone on the internet, either in a positive way or a negative way. So there's no room for guarantees. But what you can guarantee are production, right? What you can produce. And what I can guarantee is that if you follow these steps, you're going to have a well-written piece of content that may get traction. And I say may because if you just create content and put it on your website and forget about it and pray, we call that in the digital marketing world, publish and pray content, then it's probably not going to get any traction. And that should be logical to you at this point, because if you're just creating content and you're not sharing it with anybody, or you're not putting it in front of anybody's eyes or in Google's eyes, then it's not going to get any organic traction. So let's go over the secret sauce to creating content. Number 1, word count. Number 2, tone. Number 3, introduction. Number 4, triggers. Number 5, solution. Number 6, buyer persona. Number 7, business wins. Number 8, internal linking. Number 9, personalization. Number 10, sources. Those are the 10 things that you should be considering when creating content. So let's go over them step by step. Number 1 is word count. As I showed in Module 1, Part 2, I use a tool I created called the Keyword Tool to analyze the top 10 results for a given keyword phrase. So if you haven't seen that and you haven't downloaded and created your own keyword tool by copying mine, you need to go back to Module 1, Part 2, get that link on my website, get that link to that Google Drive spreadsheet and copy it and create it, and go through Module 1, Part 2 in order to learn how to use it. So one of the things, or one of the metrics that I use when measuring the top 10 results is the average word count for the top 10 results. With that, I can gauge how much we need to write. If the average word count for a keyword phrase is, for the top 10 results is 2,000 words, then I tell our writers that we need to shoot for 3,000 to 4,000 words on this topic. One of the things, so word count is super important. This isn't the case all of the time, though. Sometimes you'll find that the top 10 results have a big word count. For example, 8,000 words, 5,000 words, 3,000 words. I usually, but a lot of the content that is written on those pages is fluff. So writing a shorter, more direct article may be what the user is looking for. So, word count isn't just the tell-all. It's basically a metric that will help you gauge how much you should be shooting for. And if the top 10 are averaging 2,000 words, then you should definitely have more. You should be shooting to outdo them and not write, 4,000 words of fluff, but you want to write great content that is heavily researched, and you're linking to your sources. You're showing the reader how authoritative you are on the subject, more than the top 10 results. So writing could result in creating more content or writing shorter content that gets right to the point. Number 2 in the recipe for the secret sauce to creating content is your tone. You need to be consistent with your tone. You need to be consistent with your tone. When outlining your content, you want to make sure to indicate the tone. I usually go with a friendly but authoritative tone. Again, we are in the drug and alcohol rehab space, So we have to be professional, friendly, and authoritative. In Module 1, Part 2, you created your buyer persona. You want to cater to your audience. Describe the tone you want to write with based on your buyer's persona. If you haven't done that, go back to Module 1, Part 2, and work on your buyer personas. And I say plural personas because most businesses have more than just one buyer persona. Number 3 in our recipe to the secret sauce of content creation is your introduction. The introduction of your blog post is essential for both the reader and search engines. The first sentence has to have a purpose. This sentence is the one that's going to make the reader want to continue reading. This first sentence has to have a hook that will entice the reader to read the rest of the article. A good introduction may have a question for the reader. According to clearwriter.com, a big content creation website, asking a question in the first line of a paragraph grabs readers' attention and sets up your point. Using an immediate, direct answer to make your point demonstrates a firm stance, emphasized by the confidence of a fragment. And they use grammatical terms there, meaning that you may want to ask almost a rhetorical question and then answer it with a short fragment answer. Will squash players Johnny and Josh ever achieve the amount of fame and fortune that Andre Agassi and Serena Williams have through squash? Period. Certainly not. Fragment sentence. Period. Those type of sentences and statements are pretty impactful. They're memorable, and they entice the reader to continue. Now, just by reading that sentence, I just made that sentence up based on an example that they give on their website. I already know what the rest of the article is going to be about, and you could probably deduce that yourself. This is what Yoast.com said. Yoast.com is a huge player in the SEO world. This is what they have to say about an SEO-friendly introduction. First, you want to introduce the topic. The first paragraph of an article introduces the topic. Just by reading the introduction, it should be clear what the message of your article is. What is it that you want to tell people in this article? Second, get people excited to read more. The second thing a good introduction should do is to get people excited about your article. You'll need a hook, something that's fun or triggering, something that catches people's attention. The introduction should be written in such a way that people want to read more. Your audience should feel curious about what's next and excited to have found such an amazing article. Third, you want to set expectations for the reader. The third thing an SEO-friendly introduction should do is set expectations. Readers should know, just by reading the first paragraph of your post, what they can expect from your article. In newspapers, journalists tend to hide their content and not tell people up front what they're going to learn. But on a website, chances are very high people will click away if you don't tell them what they're going to read or what to expect. Fourth, you want to use your focused keyword or your keyword phrases or your keywords in a prudent manner. If you really want to write an SEO-friendly introduction, make sure to use your focused keyword phrase in the first paragraph. I usually use it in the first sentence. You want your audience to recognize the thing that they're searching for in the search engines immediately. Use that exact key phrase in your introduction. That'll convince your audience that they're reading the right thing. And I don't agree with the exact matching keyword phrase. A lot of the times you may not be able to, because the keyword phrase may be a shortened version of a longer keyword phrase. So you want to be prudent about it. I use that word a lot with our writers when mentioning keywords. You want to make sure that you are prudent in the use of the keywords that we're trying to rank for, and That means that you're not going to be able to include the keyword how people are searching for it in the content, and that's okay. You can use it in various ways. You can modify the keyword. You can use synonyms of the keyword. All of that is great for SEO, and it makes for a very readable piece of content instead of a bunch of keywords being stuffed all the time and the reader going like, okay, I know I live in Phoenix, Arizona. Why do you keep mentioning Phoenix, Arizona in every single paragraph? That's super annoying for the reader. It's bad user experience, and Google doesn't like it. And finally, keep it readable. Readability is vital for the entire article, but as the introduction, it is essential to the article. Readability is crucial in the introduction. Don't make the first paragraph hard to read. Use short sentences, avoid passive voice. An introduction should not be too long. One paragraph containing 10 to 12 sentences at most. You could divide an introduction into 2 shorter paragraphs as well. Don't make paragraphs longer than 12 sentences. You want to keep it short. I always tell that to our writers. We want to introduce the topic and get right into the meat of things, but we want to have the introduction be strong with a strong hook and a strong thesis statement. The thesis statement is basically introducing the rest of the body. And the thesis statement could be something very direct, like, in this article, we're going to go over 1, 2, and 3, period. That usually could be the last sentence or even the first sentence of your blog post. It's a very strong sentence. The next the next ingredient in our recipe for our secret sauce to content creation is number 4, the trigger. The trigger is the body of your article. Depending on where in your buyer's journey, awareness, consideration, decision-making, your content is going to live, the body will contain content to build up to where you'd like to lead the reader. The body deals with pointing out the problems and offering solutions. By targeting a pain point, problem, or another topic your target audience wants to discover, and then posting it on your website, you'll create a brand asset that's crawlable by Google and discoverable by search engines. A good example of a website that creates content, great content, is ahrefs.com. Check out their blog, ahrefs.com. They include original data and informational advice to create long-form articles that serve their audience. They know what their audience's pain points are, and we're dealing with SEO. ahrefs.com is essentially an SEO tool, and they've created an entire business around this SEO tool that they've created, and they've created other SEO tools on top of that. So all of their articles are tackling pain points, whether it's how to use the tool, how to generate a report, how to do keyword research, how to get a client. There's so many pain points that someone that uses their tool or that could use their tool have, and they've tackled that very well. Again, they include a lot of original data. They do a lot of case studies themselves. They do a lot of surveys themselves. They do a lot of research themselves and informational advice from experts either on their team or that they interview or that they have guest author articles. So some trigger points to consider using when writing your own articles on your website are real life stories. Real life stories help the reader relate to you or to a former client. If you're telling a story about how you helped a client and what that client's pain points and what problems you help them solve, helps the reader relate to your content, to your business. Data gives the reader confidence that you are an authority in this field, that you've done a lot of research, you've done a lot of work, you know what you're talking about. Getting deeper into why the problem exists may trigger the reader to believe you're an authority in this industry. You understand the problems, and not only do you understand the problem on the surface, but you understand why this problem exists and how to tackle it. And finally, another trigger point to consider using is hope. Showing the reader solutions to their problems gives them hope. Giving examples of people that have overcome their problems gives the reader hope. Number 5, the 5th ingredient to our secret sauce is the solution. You want to be very clear in the solution you offer when creating your blog posts. Again, you want to guide the reader to the next step in the buyer's journey. Not everyone will call you, fill out a form, or go to your sales page after reading your content or a blog post, but they might in a day or two. You always want to point the prospect in the right direction. If the article you're writing is very far from the decision-making stage in your buyer's journey, perhaps offering to give something away for free in exchange for an email will entice the reader instead of a huge call me button. And then once you have that email, you can put them into some sort of a funnel where every month you send them a newsletter. Every month you send them a blog post that you created. Every month you send those people an email with a case study showing your solutions. Not everything has to lead to that hard sale, especially if it's early on in the buyer's journey. Number 6 ingredient in our secret sauce to creating content is to be subtle. Not every piece of content you create will be a hard sale piece. Many people don't like to feel like they're being sold, so be subtle in your persuasion. If you're telling a story about your buyer's problem, you can hold their hand into the next stage of the buyer's journey. Make sure you're aware of your buyer persona and where this content will live in the buyer's journey so that you can lead them to that next stage. Remember, awareness, consideration, decision-making. The goal is to get from 1 to 3 as quickly as possible, but sometimes you have to hold their hand and say, hey, you just read this blog post about the 10 celebrities that have heroin. Or that overcame heroin addiction. Do you have a loved one or know someone that may be struggling with substance use, not just heroin, but any type of abuse or mental health issues? We can help you. Fill out this form, or we can help you read this blog on these people that overcame substance use disorder. The 7th ingredient in our secret sauce is business wins, including business wins in your content. Another part of my content creation recipe is including business wins in the content, because including facts about your business, such as big wins and comparisons to other companies, other solutions, helps edify my business. This helps the reader to understand the value of our business or our client's business. Use a good mix of text, images, and videos to tell your company's story. It will help the reader remember remember you as they move through the buyer journey. Remember, the buyer's journey doesn't just live in your website or on your with your company. You are just part of the buyer's journey. The end goal is to get them to buy from you, but in many cases, probably in most cases, the buyer will buy from someone else. Understanding that is key. Not everybody is going to buy from you, but you should understand the journey, and you should be able to help them remember your business and remember how valuable your business is by including business wins, case studies in your content. And what I do, part of my secret sauce is just giving all of this information away, like I'm doing right now. I'm giving away this SEO course because it's adding value to my brand, Andrew Macia, the SEO guy, SEO Hacks by Andrew. If this helps you get 1,000 more visits to your website after going through the 7 modules, you're going to remember that. You're going to say, hey, that guy had great information. I wonder what he's up to. Or, hey, he just came out with a new advanced course on how to create content that sells. I'm going to buy it for $100 or whatever the case is, but I need to create value. And the way that I'm doing it is by giving away information and also including business wins. Whenever I have an example to show, I'm showing you clients that I helped create content that got them thousands of visits per month. Here's a pro tip. People like fast and easy. If you have a quick win or a way for a quick win, you can show someone it may resonate with them more than something that they have to work hard to achieve. Quick wins are great examples for people. And again, people like fast and easy. So if you can show someone how to do something quickly and easily, less pain, less resistance, they're going to appreciate that a lot more than something that they have to go through months to learn. Number 8, internal linking. Make sure to link related content. Internal linking will help the reader if they have further questions and help search engines understand what keywords to position your website for or your blog post for. Here's a pro tip when talking about internal linking. Make sure to have an XML sitemap created and an HTML sitemap on your website. We'll get into this deeper in a future lesson, but remember, having a sitemap is super important and it helps you interlink your entire website. But as you're writing content, you definitely want to include links to other content, again, pushing along your buyer or your reader along in their buyer's journey. The 9th ingredient in our secret sauce to creating content that wins is personalization. Let your voice through. I always tell this to clients when we're creating the style guide, because we create style guides for clients, not only brand style guides for design, but also style guides for content. Like, what's the voice that's going to come through when we write a social media post? What's the voice going to be when we create content on your blog? Is that different than an internal page that's a sales page? Is that different than an informative page that's an internal page and not a blog post? Everything has to have a voice. You can do this by sharing your ideas, thoughts, and opinions in your content. Usually blog posts that are long, that may be informative, will have some sort of opinion, and then people are looking for that. They want to form their own opinions based on your experiences, your solutions, etc. So it's okay to tell people where your stance is on a certain pain point. If there are hundreds of pages on the internet talking to your buyer persona, how are you going to stand out? Your voice is going to make you stand out. Even if you have a writer, you want your brand personality to be present. As you grow, you need to create a brand style guide that indicates where you stand on specific buyer issues, what kind of slang you use, how you deal with objections, etc. So personalization is key to having a great blog and great content on your website that's going to lead to sales eventually. Finally, the last ingredient to the secret sauce to creating content for us, for our outlines that we give our for the outlines that we create, that we give our writers, is sources. Remember how I said that your reader and Google are your college professors in a previous knowledge? Remember how I said that your reader and Google are your college professors when writing content? I said this in a previous module. So far, we've gone through the recipe to make both of those professors very happy. Finally, you'll want to let your professor know where you got all of your information. You want to link to important sources within the content. And we also indicate to our writers to include a list of sources at the bottom, a bullet point or a numbered list of sources at the bottom, as if it were a research paper for your professor. Linking to sources is good for the user's experience and Google. The user will have confidence that you got your information through research, and Google will like it because they can link that other content and their topics to your content, and it'll help them index for keywords that are related. So now let's get into, now that we've gone through the 10 ingredients to the secret sauce of content creation. And basically, these are the 10 points that we use to create an outline for our writers. And this is what I used to do when I was the writer. I would go through these 10 points to create content that's going to last and that's going to compete with the top content out there for my client. Let's go into some homework or some actionable items, because this is what it's all about. Now it's your turn to create content. Number one, what I want you to do is to go review a top content piece or various content pieces that are top content pieces, your competition. I want you to take a look at a competitor's piece of content and go through the secret sauce recipe, labeling each thing that you see or highlighting each thing that you see within that competitor's content. Number one, this is going to help you practice to create your own outline and to create your own content. For example, let's say you want to write a blog post on recovery from meth addiction. I use that because that's what we do. I'm going to Google the keyword recovering from meth addiction or steps to recover from meth addiction. I'm going to go through this 10-point recipe for the secret sauce to creating good content, and I'm going to see what these top blog post articles or whatever I find on the top 10 have, and what are they missing from the secret sauce? Because I guarantee you that a lot of them will have things missing. Some of them may not have a video. Some of them may not have an infographic. Some of them might not have a voice and just be very plain, no opinions, no real stories, just a bunch of medical facts, etc. So it helps me not only start brainstorming as to where the gaps are and what I can do to fill those gaps in the content to make my piece better than the competition. So number one, go and review your competition's content based on these 10 recipe points that we went through. And then number two, I want you to create your own outline. I want you to create your own outline using the content secret sauce recipe we just went over. I want you to create an outline for a piece of content. It could be the same content. It should be the same content that you just researched your competition, right? Remember to indicate where in the buyer's journey this content's going to sit. Never forget your buyer. No matter what you're writing, even if it's something that's like, oh, today, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. That sits somewhere within the buyer's journey. Maybe it's not a very high converting article right now, but it's going to sit in the buyer's journey somewhere. And I can fit it into other content pieces that I've created in order to nudge my user along their buyer journey. So thank you guys for watching. This is the end of Module 4, Part 1. If you're watching this on YouTube or on another platform apart from my website where the entire lesson lives, there's a link in the description to where the page, the module lives on my website so that you can see the full transcript of this video and you can follow along on to the next module. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, so that's done. That's module 4, content marketing advanced. Yeah, I love content marketing. It's if you can have an army of writers, you're gonna be fine. You don't need an army of writers. I was just kidding about that, but it's good. Beshko, thanks for the comments, man. Love it. Hola, ma. ¿Cómo estás? Told my mom to stop by and say hi. She's like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, but so I don't want to say hi. I'm like, just say hi. It's all good. So that was the recording of Module 4, Part 1. The next video will be Part 2, and then we'll go into Module 5. We're almost done. We're halfway there. It's a 7-module course. So I've got a few more videos to record, but overall, it's something fun to do. I actually enjoy this, believe it or not. And And I know that it's going to be valuable for people that are just getting into search engine optimization or are already there and need help, creating content or, getting over the hump of being stuck and not having more traffic to their website. The idea is to get more traffic to a website. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to play video games now. Probably going to play FIFA.